when I started actually studying about it, and when I started reading the lives of people who were being, made terrorists, and how they are not even terrorists, how are they even radicalized or made kattar. So a very interesting finding is there, I would like to share with you. See, first, what they do is, this is a process called separatism, extremism, and terrorism, you know and I made it a part of my activism that I explain this process separately. That first, a Muslim mind is made a separatist. How they do it? uh, by telling him or her that you're different from the entire world. you know your lifestyle is different, your food is different, your language is different, the way you lead your life, the way you think should be different. And there is a very long list of haram and halal. Like I give you an example in the beginning, that a woman who opens her hair, it is haram in Islam. And wearing nail paint is haram in Islam, or maybe wearing a lipstick is haram, or like we are doing this video chat, getting clicked is haram. And a very long list of haram and halal which they themselves do not follow. But just to make a Muslim mind separate from the entire world, they uh, put these seeds of separatism in a Muslim mind. And music is haram, art is haram, dance is haram. you know Anything which makes you, or which takes you in a meditative mode, which makes you mingle with others, which makes you happy, is haram. Because they have to make you aggressive, they have to use you like foot soldiers to make their dream of Islamic State come true. So obviously they do not want you to be happy, they do not want you to coexist with other people, they do not want you to celebrate life. That is, and they want to make you aggressive. That is why they, whatever way possible, whatever they can, whatever they can even think of, they would try to separate you from the entire world. This is where fatwa comes into picture. At times we feel that, what foolish kind of fatwas they give, that hand sanitizer is haram. you know During COVID times, using sanitizer is haram, taking polio drops are haram. Those kind of fatwas they bring. At times people feel that they're doing it because they're illiterate, but I would like to reiterate it time and again that they are not doing or throwing these fatwas because they're illiterate. They're very smart. They want to kill that rationality and that decision making power of a Muslim mind. What a Muslim uh, kid can do, they would tell you. What a Muslim kid cannot do, that also they will tell you. That do's and don'ts should be regulated and controlled by them. And when a Muslim mind is so dependent on these do's and don'ts, that thinking capabilities killed. you know that confidence is not there to take independent decisions. That is why these fatwa brigade, they work, to make a Muslim mind separate, to kill the thinking capacity, to just make them zombies, or to just make them robots. That is why this separatist process is done, and deliberately, and with malified intention, and with a proper agenda, and a very strong thought process is behind it. It is not just done randomly or casually, or just because they're illiterate. So we should not trivialize it by saying that they're illiterate, that's why they're doing it. They're doing it very smartly, and they know why they're doing it. And once a Muslim mind is made separatist, then the second process, the second part of the process comes into picture. That is making them extremist. you know Once you are a separatist, then it becomes easier for them to make you an extremist. Now they would like to make you adamant and rigid. Okay, now this is what you believe. Only this is right, what others are thinking is wrong. That flexibility, that coexistence is killed. No, 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 what you were thinking is right, what others are thinking are wrong. Once they are successful in making you an extremist, then they try to make you a terrorist. Because now what will happen, Kamalji, just imagine a mind which is separatist from others. He cannot mingle with others, he's not friends with others. Now he has become rigid also, now he has become extremist also. Now he thinks I'm right and others are wrong. So of course he would start, or he or she would start feeling isolated from the entire world. I do not have friends, people do not understand me, I'm different from others. Now he would start looking for solace. Now he would start seeking, okay, what will make me happy, what do I do? Now this terrorists, organizations come into picture. Now they make you a terrorist ki, okay, now what others do not, if others do not believe in your belief, then you this is your duty to kill them. Either convince them, either make them like you, or it is your duty to kill them. And it is as a matter of duty, you would be rewarded for it. you know so they use that reward and punishment kind of a theory to control a Muslim mind. And they have that beautiful graphic image of Jannat and Dozak. You know, if you would do this, you would get 72 hoods in Jannat, and Jannat has rivers of milk, and a beautiful place it is. That kind of a lalach and greed they try to plant in your mind, that if you do what we are saying, that you would get Jannat. And very dangerous graphic details of Dozak. If you would not do this, then you would be fried in hot oil, and insects would bite you, snakes would bite you. And they try to create that kind of a fear psychosis in a Muslim mind. So this is the entire process of separatism, extremism, and terrorism, which they follow to radicalize and make a Muslim mind a terrorist. And different organizations are working for it. We need to understand, if we would just think that one day we would terminate all terrorist organizations, it is not possible. If we have to eliminate terrorism, we would have to eliminate separatism itself. you know there are many organizations, many people who are making a Muslim mind separatist. Then there are organizations which are making a Muslim mind extremist. Then there are organizations which are making Muslim minds terrorists. Different people are doing different jobs. I would like to give you an example. In Europe, few terrorists were caught after bombings, and it was found that I think they were from Al Qaeda. And when further investigation was done, it was found that they were recruited from Tablighi Jamaat. And Tablighi Jamaat can obviously get away with it by saying that I am not a terrorist organization. You know, you can investigate and you can find no proof against me. But how and why is it a fruitful ground for a terrorist organization to recruit people? You know, you understand that link of separatist terrorist, separatist extremist and a terrorist. These extremist organizations, these separatist organizations are fruitful grounds for terrorist organizations to recruit. So this is how they operate. Then there are companies, there are organizations who are there to fund. Their duties to their part of the entire process is just to provide funds. So they're doing it very systematically and very smartly, and we need to understand that. And why they do it, this is a question many people ask, that why they do it. See, these people have nothing to do with Islam, and these people have nothing to do with Allah. you know they try to blackmail your mind or manipulate your mind by saying that they're doing it in the service of Allah, maybe, and they're doing it to please Allah, maybe. But actually it is just a political agenda. They have this political agenda of making the entire world an Islamic state and to rule the entire world. So that agenda of Islamic state can only be fulfilled if they have foot soldiers, and if they have zombies, and if they have robots, people who cannot think on their own, people who do not have that rationality to differentiate between right and wrong. They need suicide bombers. you know no rational person would go and just put a bomb in him or herself and just blow himself or herself out. Obviously, to make a person a suicide bomber, they have to completely brainwash and manipulate and hijack their minds. That is why they do it. And a very bogus theory is there that Islam is in danger. you know they always say that Islam is in danger. I always ask them that you are the second largest faith in the entire world. How on earth you are in danger? A Muslim should ask them, what is in danger? You have put the entire world under danger, this Islamic State theory. And, this Ghazwa-e-Hind has put other people in danger. And you keep on repeating this theory that Islam is in danger, Islam is in danger. Because if a Muslim person will think that I am in danger, only then he would try to protect himself, only then he would try to become aggressive. So that is why they do it, and that is how they do it. That is why they make this narrative against Bharat, because this theory of Islamic State is obviously, it is against the entire world, against the entire humanity. They want to make the entire world an Islamic State. But against Bharat, they have a specific theory of Ghazwa-e-Hind. That Islamic State ki theory is summarized in Ghazwa-e-Hind. Ghazwa-e-Hind is a holy war against Bharat. So an Indian Muslim must understand it and must fight against this with all their might, if you really think yourself as a Bharatiya.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.